Cindy is a young woman who is 23 years old and lives in a big city. Her life looks normal from the outside, but inside she feels confused and unhappy. She moved to the city with hope and dreams, believing that college would help her build a good future. At first, she tried to adjust to her new life as a college student. She attended classes, listened to teachers, and completed assignments like everyone else. However, as time passed, she began to feel uncomfortable with this life. College was not what Cindy expected. The lessons were difficult for her to understand, and the pressure of exams and homework made her feel stressed. She spent many hours studying, but she did not feel successful or confident. Instead of feeling excited about learning, she felt tired and lost. Every day felt the same. She woke up, went to class, came back, and repeated the routine again and again. Slowly, boredom filled her heart, and she started to question why she was there. Cindy noticed that she was no longer happy. She did not enjoy her classes, and she did not feel passionate about her subjects. While other students talked about their goals and careers, Cindy felt empty. She tried to motivate herself by thinking about the future, but it did not help. The work felt too hard, and her mind felt heavy. She often sat alone, thinking about her life and wondering if this path was right for her. Living in a big city made her feelings stronger. The city was busy and full of people, yet Cindy felt alone. She saw others walking quickly with purpose, while she felt stuck. The noise, crowds, and fast pace made her more tired. At night, she lay in bed thinking about her choices. She asked herself if she should continue college just because it was expected of her. These thoughts stayed in her mind every day. After a long time of feeling unhappy, Cindy made a serious decision. She decided to leave college. This decision was not easy, and it did not happen suddenly. It came from many days of stress, boredom, and sadness. She wanted a different life, one where she could breathe and feel free. Leaving college felt scary, but staying felt even worse. Cindy believed that even though the future was uncertain, she needed to follow her feelings. This moment marked the beginning of a new chapter in Cindy's life. She was no longer a college student, but a young woman trying to find her own way. Her decision showed her desire for change and her courage to face the unknown. Even though she did not know what would happen next, Cindy chose to take control of her life and search for meaning beyond the classroom. When Cindy decided to leave college, it created a serious problem in her family. Her parents were very surprised and upset by her choice. They had always believed that college was the best path to a successful life. In their minds, education meant safety, respect, and a good career in the future. When they heard Cindy's decision, they felt angry because they thought she was throwing away her chances. Cindy's parents wanted her to finish her studies. They believed that working hard in college would lead to a stable job and a comfortable life. They worried that, without a degree, Cindy would struggle in the big city. They imagined her working long hours, earning little money, and facing many difficulties. Because they loved her, they tried to stop her from leaving college. They talked to her many times, hoping she would change her mind. However, Cindy felt misunderstood. She tried to explain how unhappy she was, but her parents did not fully listen. They focused on her future success, while Cindy focused on her present feelings. This difference in thinking caused many arguments at home. The conversations often ended in silence or anger. Cindy felt sad because the people she loved the most did not support her decision. The conflict showed a clear gap between generations. Cindy wanted to find her own path and believed that happiness was important. Her parents grew up believing that stability and education were the most important things in life. To them, leaving college was a mistake. They feared that Cindy was being careless and irresponsible. They felt disappointed because they had hoped she would follow the path they planned for her. As the arguments continued, the relationship between Cindy and her parents became tense. The house felt cold and uncomfortable. Simple conversations turned into fights. Cindy felt guilty, but she also felt strong about her choice. She knew staying in college would make her unhappy, but seeing her parents angry hurt her deeply. In the end, her parents made a firm decision. They told Cindy that if she left college, they would stop giving her money. This was their way of showing how serious they were. They believed that facing real life without support would make Cindy understand their point of view. For Cindy, this moment was painful. She felt rejected and scared. But she also knew she had to accept the result of her choice. This family conflict became a turning point in Cindy's life. It taught her that growing up often means making difficult decisions that others may not accept. It showed that love does not always mean agreement. Cindy learned that choosing her own path also meant facing loneliness, responsibility, and the emotional distance between her and her parents. When Cindy's parents told her they would not give her money anymore, her life changed in a very real and immediate way. Until that moment, she had always had some support from her family. Knowing that support was gone made her feel scared and uncertain. For the first time, she understood that she had to depend only on herself. There was no safety net anymore, and every decision she made would directly affect her daily life. Cindy moved out and found a small, cheap place to live. The room was simple and uncomfortable, but it was all she could afford. She had to learn how to manage money carefully. Every coin mattered. She thought about food, rent, and transportation before buying anything else. This was very different from her life before, when her parents helped her without her thinking much about it. Now, she felt the weight of responsibility every day. To survive in the big city, Cindy looked for work. She found a job that did not pay much, but it was enough to cover basic needs. The work was tiring, and the hours were long. Sometimes her body felt weak, and her mind felt exhausted. Even so, she forced herself to keep going because she had no other choice. Each day taught her something new about discipline and effort. Living without financial support also changed how Cindy saw herself. She felt proud when she paid her bills with her own money, even if the money was little. She learned to solve problems on her own, without asking for help right away. When things went wrong, she had to stay calm and think carefully. These experiences slowly made her stronger and more confident. There were nights when Cindy felt very lonely. After long hours of work, she returned to her small room and sat quietly. She missed her parents and the comfort of home. Sometimes she questioned her decision and wondered if she had made a mistake. But even in those moments, she reminded herself why she left college. She remembered the sadness and boredom she felt before and knew she could not go back to that life. Becoming independent was not easy, but it helped Cindy grow. She began to understand the value of money and hard work. She also learned that freedom comes with responsibility. Making her own choices meant facing the results alone. Through struggle and effort, Cindy slowly built a new life for herself, one step at a time. This period taught her that independence is not just about living alone, but about learning how to stand strong without relying on others. Cindy's story is filled with strong emotions that make it feel real and easy to connect with. At the beginning, Cindy feels bored and unhappy with her life in college. Every day feels heavy and tiring for her. She wakes up with no excitement and goes to classes without interest. The work feels too hard, and her heart is not in it. This boredom slowly turns into sadness, and she feels lost. These feelings show how emotional pressure can build over time when someone is not happy with their situation. Her parents also experience powerful emotions when they learn about Cindy's decision to leave college. They feel angry and disappointed. They worry about her future and fear that she will struggle in life. Their anger does not come from hate, but from concern and fear. They want to protect her, but they do not know how to express it in a calm way. Because of this, their emotions turn into harsh words and strong reactions. The emotional gap between Cindy and her parents becomes wider with every argument. Cindy feels misunderstood and alone in her own home. She wants her parents to listen to her feelings, but they focus only on what they believe is right. This makes Cindy feel small and unheard. At the same time, her parents feel that Cindy is ignoring their advice and experience. Both sides feel hurt, but neither knows how to fix the situation. As the conflict grows, fear becomes an important emotion in the story. Cindy is afraid of the future and the unknown. Leaving college and losing financial support makes her worry about survival. Her parents are afraid too. They fear that Cindy will fail, suffer, or regret her choice. These fears push both sides to act strongly, even when they love each other deeply. Loneliness is another strong emotion in Cindy S' life. Even when she lives in a big city full of people, she feels alone. Without her parents' support, both emotional and financial, she feels empty and quiet inside. At night, her thoughts become louder, and her doubts return. This loneliness teaches her how difficult independence can be. Despite all these difficult emotions, the story also shows inner strength. Cindy learns to face her feelings instead of running away from them. She accepts fear, sadness, and loneliness as part of her journey. Through emotional struggle, she begins to grow. The story shows that emotions are not signs of weakness, but signs of being human. By feeling deeply, Cindy learns who she is and what truly matters in her life. Cindy S' story clearly shows how choices and consequences are connected in real life. When she decided to leave college, it was not a small or simple choice. It was a decision that came from long feelings of boredom, stress, and unhappiness. Cindy chose to follow her own feelings instead of the path her parents wanted for her. This choice gave her freedom, but it also brought many challenges that she did not face before. One of the first consequences of her decision was the change in her relationship with her parents. They became angry and disappointed because they believed she was making a mistake. Their support, especially financial support, was taken away. This showed Cindy that every decision has a price. Choosing her own way meant losing comfort and security. She had to accept this result even though it hurt her emotionally. Another consequence was the need to become independent. Cindy had to find a place to live, earn money, and manage her life on her own. Life became harder and more tiring. She had to work long hours and live with less. This was not the easy freedom she imagined, but it was real. Through these struggles, Cindy learned important life lessons that she could not learn in a classroom. The story also shows that consequences are not always negative. While Cindy faced many difficulties, she also grew as a person. She became stronger, more responsible, and more confident. Making her own choices helped her understand herself better. She learned how to solve problems, handle stress, and survive without depending on others. These lessons were valuable and lasting. Cindy S' experience teaches that growing up means accepting responsibility. When a person makes a choice, they must be ready to face what comes next. There is no perfect decision in life. Every path has both good and bad sides. Cindy S' path was hard, but it was honest. She chose a life that matched her feelings, even though it was risky. In the end, the story shows that life is a process of learning. Mistakes do not mean failure. Choices help shape who we become. Cindy S' decision changed her life and pushed her to grow. The story reminds us that courage is not about choosing the easiest path, but about accepting the consequences of our choices and continuing forward with strength and hope.